fight if we must. Ape home, human soul. Do not come back.
Look, Simba, everything the light touches is our kingdom. A king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, Simba, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
I did not start this war. The ape who did is dead. His name was Koba. I killed him. Now, I fight only to protect apes.
Simba, you have forgotten me. You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become. You must take your place in the circle of life. You are my son, and the one true king. Remember who you are.
Mufasa, the legendary king who ruled over everything the sun laid its light upon. Cesar, the legendary ape who led an uprising and overthrowing of humanity as the dominant species on planet Earth. Who has more aura? In today's video, I'm going to be analyzing these two mythical figures and letting you know who I ultimately think is just a slightly better aura farmer. I think it goes without saying that these are probably the two non-human fictional characters with the most aura. Maybe you could throw Scooby-Doo with the afro from Monsters Unleashed into that mix as well. But with Mufasa and Cesar, these are characters who even in death went on to have major impacts on their movie universe moving forward. Mufasa literally spoke from the grave and gave his son the motivation he needed to overthrow that little orange fool known as Scar. And Cesar just straight up became Chimp Jesus after his death, with factions of apes praising his name even 300 years after his passing. Now, in order to really narrow down who has more aura between these two, I'm going to attempt to explain how I define aura. And to me, aura is just a feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when someone walks into a room. They simply give off a different level of energy when they arrive at the function. Think of a prime Mike Tyson walking down to the boxing ring, or a prime Michael Jordan stepping onto the basketball court. Or think of that one POV shot of Cesar at the start of War for the Planet of the Apes, when he slowly walks up to the captive humans who his ape army managed to capture. Every chimp that Cesar passed, and these humans, knew goddamn well that Cesar was that dude, just off of his presence alone. And that is aura. The Lion King also establishes Mufasa's crazy aura from its opening scene, because in seeing all of these animals bow down and pay their respects to Simba, who is only the future king and is a literal cub, you get a pretty good idea of how much respect the current king demands from the entire animal kingdom. And both Cesar and Mufasa have to deal with an opposing force in a way. With Mufasa, he is combated by Scar and the hyenas, and Cesar is of course locked in a battle for survival with humanity. But for my money, I do think Cesar is just that dude. And I would say he has superior aura to Mufasa. And a lot of this comes down to the fact that Mufasa was a king during a time of peace. Dealing with great adversity and becoming a grizzled war general just put Cesar over the top. While Mufasa served as a great pillar for the animal kingdom, I do think it's easier to be a great king when you're not really being outwardly challenged. And if we want to get technical, when Caesar's brother from another mother with the scar on his face tried to overthrow him, Cesar took a gunshot, came back, and put Koba in his place. When Cesar pulled up in the third act of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and hit us with that Koba, weaker, straight goosebumps. His aura levels were approaching 9,000. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't get more badass than that. Now, when Scar started plotting on Mufasa, it went a little differently. Yes, Scar was a little more strategical with how he went about taking out his brother, and really used Mufasa's love for Simba against him, but still, I think surviving a shot from your brother turned enemy simply gives you more aura than getting killed by stampeding wildebeest. Let's be honest, the only way Cesar could have had more aura at the end of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes would be if he pulled up with many men blasting on a JBL speaker.
Better watch how you talk when you talk about me, 'cause I'll come and take your life away. Many men.
War for the Planet of the Apes might be where you could argue that Caesar's aura falters a bit, since that film is in many ways a concentration camp movie that sees Caesar literally being tortured for a lot of it. But honestly, the fact that he survives all of this torment and eventually gets the better of this human military force only adds to his legacy in the long run. While yes, he eventually dies and succumbs to his injuries, this ape had such a strong will that he was able to push off his ultimate fate until he accomplished his mission. The Reaper came for his soul and he said, "Hold on, brother, I got a couple more things I need to do." And only after he secured his entire tribe's survival did he allow himself to die. I mean, what do you want me to say? Mufasa is awesome, a legendary fictional king. But you'll never be able to convince me that a king during times of peace can fuck with a chimp who first of all had to fight for his position as leader, survived a shot from his right-hand man and then proceeded to whoop Koba's ass, and then beat the human race in a war for survival. If you want to find a character with more aura than Caesar, you're gonna have to bring someone like a John Wick to the table, because most of fiction is getting straight aura-mogged by the great Caesar. Well, if you made it this far, I'd love to hear who you think has more aura between Mufasa and Caesar. This actually started out as a who's a better leader style video, kind of like the Optimus Prime versus Captain America video I made a few months ago. But ultimately, I felt like who was the better aura farmer was a more interesting topic to break down. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe for more Screen Stories content. I'll have a playlist with all of my versus style videos linked in the description. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.